Great news. Luis King Kong Ortiz lets it be known he still wants Dillian Whyte and explains why the fight with Anthony Joshua didn't go through. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification icon for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, link in the description. There's a new interview, and it's with Luis Ortiz's manager, and he talks about the unfoldings and why the Joshua fight didn't happen when Joshua needed a new opponent after Gerald Miller failed a drug test. And allegedly, there were some negotiations between Luis Ortiz's team, right? The article says Britain's unified heavyweight champ had selected Ortiz as his first choice to replace Gerald Miller, who was ruled out of Joshua's world title defense when he failed a drug test. But Luis Ortiz's team rejected the deal in a social media post, prompting an angry reaction from promoter Eddie Hearn and Luis Ortiz, his trainer, Jimenez, right? Jay Jimenez, admits his fighter had been eager to fight Joshua on June 1st. He told Sky Sports, quote, "It's not a regret." You guys see it right there. Hold on. He says, "It's not a regret. It was a misunderstanding. Back and forth with me in the middle. Then we had the promoters. We had others pulling us from the side for the Deontay Wilder fight." Luis Ortiz obviously is a fighter. All fighters, they're not scared to fight anyone. He was upset. He wanted the Anthony Joshua fight. We just couldn't come to an agreement. Andy Ruiz stepped in short notice, and he pulled off a 7th round stoppage. And Luis Ortiz's trainer says, "We definitely watched it, Andy Ruiz Jr.'s win. And if you're a boxing fan, you would think, oh, Luis Ortiz would have beat him too. Not necessarily styles make fights. The right days and the right times make fights. Some guys might be off. Do we regret it? Yeah, if it would have gone that way. But that doesn't necessarily mean it would have. Anything can happen." So it sounds like he's just being modest and saying, we like our chances, but, we still would have to see it. He says, "I think it would have been a victory for Luis Ortiz because I don't think Joshua was ready for a southpaw. He couldn't get ready for a southpaw in a month's time. We wanted the fight," he says. Goes on to say, "I don't think Eddie Hearn really would have gave us the fight anyway. It wasn't a smart decision to step into a fight with the southpaw with a month's notice. Not a southpaw like Luis Ortiz, a bigger, stronger southpaw. No regrets, it happened, and the right guy won that day because maybe if it was someone else, he wouldn't have beaten Joshua. Joshua is just so skilled, so big, no regrets. Hopefully we get another shot." So they said they still could get the fight, and it doesn't have to be late notice for either guy and that kind of thing. Joshua beat Ruiz, and this is the part. Luis Ortiz made it public right here. "If we could make the Dillian Whyte fight, I think that would be a great stepping stone, especially in the US market, or the UK market, excuse me. Dillian Whyte is no walkover. He's no stepping stone. But if that fight were to happen and Luis Ortiz could come out victorious, then I think we deserve a Joshua fight." So they're saying they still want Dillian Whyte. And with a win over Dillian Whyte, that could prompt, especially in the UK market where Joshua's from, the desire to get this Joshua and Luis Ortiz fight cracking. So I like the fact that Luis Ortiz and his team are staying on top of it and letting people know that they really and truly want the fight with Dillian Whyte. That's actually a good fight. Luis Ortiz is not a little dude. I think he's a bit taller than, I think they're listed at the same height, but I've seen Dillian Whyte in person. He was in Omaha for a Terrence Crawford card he fought on, and I've also stood next to Luis Ortiz. I would say Luis Ortiz is probably a little bit taller, but nonetheless, it's a great fight. His team showing that they won it. That's great news. Now, I will be honest. Povetkin is out. You know, they said he has the virus, so he won't be able to fight against Dillian Whyte right now. However, Luis Ortiz and his team, they're raising their hand and saying, like, yo, let's get it cracking. That's a good fight, and that puts us in line for other big fights. You know, because there's really no need for a Deontay Wilder 3 with Luis Ortiz, because Wilder won the first 2 fights. No matter how Luis Ortiz pushed him or how much he tested him, which he did, you know, as you can see, he weathered the storm and stopped him. But fresh matches are always good. So Anthony Joshua, that's a whole nother story and another saga. And I've been wanting to see Joshua and Dillian Whyte fight Luis Ortiz. You know, there's only but so many top heavyweights. So those are great fights. Great fights. I think the first order of business should be Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, you know, he's coming off a knockout loss, but he says he's the can man and he's willing to fight anybody. And now you can't fight Povetkin. What better way to come back than to fight against Luis Ortiz? You know, it makes all the sense in the world. You guys have both lost at pretty much world level. Dillian Whyte lost to Povetkin, you know, who's an experienced gold medalist. Joshua, experienced gold medalist. He wasn't a champion at the time he fought Dillian Whyte, but still, you know. And then Luis Ortiz lost to a bronze medalist and a champion at the time he fought him in Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Oh my God. So I need to see this. This is a great fight. And ironically enough, I haven't really seen or heard much from Dillian Whyte since the Luis Ortiz said, I'll fight you in the UK. His team did an interview with Sky Sports. I definitely made a video about that. And I haven't really heard a response. 6 days ago, you know, he hasn't posted anything in a minute. So since that video I made and the article came out, we haven't really heard nothing from Dillian Whyte. He called Luis Ortiz an old man previously. Luis Ortiz had been gunning for that fight and called him out a long time ago. So we'll see what happens. But I think Dillian Whyte, this is a great way to, even if you lost to Povetkin, there's Luis Ortiz and Povetkin were born the same year, so they're the same age. They're both accomplished, storied amateurs. So there's really no reason, because you can't get your hands on Povetkin for obvious reasons, no reason not to fight a guy like Luis Ortiz since he said he's the can man. You know, it's a great fight for fans, and a win over Luis Ortiz is still credible. Luis Ortiz, some people don't know this, but Luis Ortiz lost to Wilder and he came back already. You know, he already had a comeback fight and got a victory got a W in the win column. He had a first round knockout on PBC just recently. So he's already back in the win column, you know, but it wasn't a fight that really tested him or got rounds in. So in essence, it's almost like they're both coming off losses in terms of, like, no one has like this striking advantage because, yeah, Dillian Whyte's coming off a knockout loss, but Luis Ortiz's last fight literally only lasted 1 round and it was over, and the guy kind of like quit once Luis Ortiz started putting that pressure on him. They even suspended the guy's purse because they were like, what happened? Like, you know, it almost looked like a phantom punch or like he threw the fight or something. So either way, they're pretty much on an even playing field, right? So big fight, great fight. Let's see what Eddie Hearn, you know, and Dillian Whyte, if they talk themselves into a big fight with Luis Ortiz, because Eddie Hearn clout chased Luis Ortiz, Dillian Whyte, you know, for Dillian Whyte, and also Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz. And now you might have to answer to that. You might have to answer to that because Luis Ortiz is coming, and he said he wants to fight, and his team is being vocal about it. So we'll see. We'll see if Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte were capping or if they want to fight. Also use my link, get ESPN Plus. They have a ton of original content. It's $5.99 a month, or you can get the bundle. You know, if you don't want to get the standalone app, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all 3 apps for one low price of $12.99. And let me tell you, Disney Plus, they just announced a monster schedule, ton of new shows coming on, and The Mandalorian's back, among other things. So it's an incredible value for 3 apps, $12.99. Let's ring in the new year. Happy holidays. Let me know what you guys think. Luis Ortiz and his team staying on it. They're making it clear they want Dillian Whyte in hopes of getting a bigger fight with Joshua, because the first one, or the first, I guess, opportunity, there was miscommunications and it didn't work out. I do agree that it was, I think that was cap. I think that was for show. I think there was pressure to fight Luis Ortiz, and they wanted to make it look like Luis Ortiz was ducking. But I don't think Joshua's team really wanted a southpaw with a couple weeks, you know, to train and prepare, switch gears from a big 300-pound Gerald Miller to a swift 256 Luis Ortiz and southpaw. Way different styles. Gerald Miller was more of a volume puncher. Luis Ortiz is a precision boxer, puncher that has good footwork. You know, it's just a way different fight. You know, I really don't see it. The Andy Ruiz fight, how it played out, it might have been worse with Luis Ortiz, to be honest. So Joshua lucky he didn't take that fight short notice, you know, because he looked starstruck and bewildered when he was first walking out. So it looked like the moment was getting too big. And you notice they ain't brought Joshua back. I think Joshua has some real life anxiety. You know, they never brought him back to America since that point. You know, the Andy Ruiz fight they did in Saudi Arabia, I think Joshua has some, maybe he's a recluse or something. And he, you know, he don't like he's still adjusted to fame, like Broner would say. But either way, let me know if this Dillian Whyte fight, if you think it'll happen. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.